Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks to everyone who wished me a happy birthday last week. I had a great time just relaxing and chilling, catching up on some anime. But you know what, I've been really looking forward to getting back into things, and today we're going to be taking another look at the Baki series. We're going to be taking a look at the king of combos, the mouth. I'll be breaking down the science of how they work so effectively as a team, as well as how they dismantle Iron Mike in their prison fight scene. So, if you're ready, let's begin.
Mouseを呼べ。Lip, tooth, tongue.
分かっていて呼んだのなら、いずれにしろ緊急事態だ。お元気そうで。
So, these guys are triplets, and it's really funny how they're so well coordinated. It really plays to the misconception that people have towards identical twins sharing some sort of unique bond, almost like having telepathy or ESP. But what's behind this unique bond that some twins may share? Well, rather than ESP or telepathy, it's thought that what twins are experiencing are empathy and mirroring. And what I mean by this is that twins often coexist within the same environment and are therefore subject to the same stimuli. And as a result, twins might unconsciously pick up on their siblings' reaction to that environment and stimulus, and thereby develop their personalities and mannerisms in the same way.
しかし、この世に存在するあらゆる連携の中、最もスムーズかつ偉大な連携、キングオブコンビネーション。それが唇と歯と舌だ。
King of combinations is the lips, teeth and tongue. But it's funny how the Baki anime would take something as trivial as eating and turn it into some form of martial arts. But you know what I'd like to see now? Who has the strongest form of martial arts? The mouth or Jack Hanma's way of the biting? Let me know what you think.
まずは魚を口に入れようとする。その時、魚が触れるなり、唇は物を手繰り寄せ。絶妙のタイミングで閉じてしまう。
And this kind of reminds me of my attempt at a Baki monologue in my last Demon Back video. By the way, let me know what you thought about that and if you enjoyed me including things like that in my videos. But this scene is really accurate, and you know, one day I'd love to sit down with the people who write the science part of these scenes. The only thing that I would add to this is that the mechanism of eating is a little bit more complex than this. You see, it starts in the brain's hunger center, which prompts us to seek out food. Then, once we've found our food, our body prepares to start digesting it by releasing enzymes in our mouth, as well as producing stomach acid, ready for the food to be broken down. And I think it would have been really cool if they depicted that part in the anime too. But let's see what happens next.
包み込んだ食物はもう外へは逃げられない。口の中の魚の姿は悲惨を極める。切断され、柔らかな舌により奥へと運ばれ、奥歯にすりつぶされる。
The sight of fish in the mouth is extremely tragic. Only in Baki would you find a line like this. But some of you might be wondering, if this process is so well coordinated, why do we sometimes end up biting our tongue as well as our cheek? Well, there's part of the brain called the pons, which is responsible for habitual actions like chewing, swallowing and biting. And sometimes the pons gets its signals crossed and maybe misses a step in this otherwise perfect coordination. Now this could be due to an outside distraction like the urge to speak whilst chewing. What this does, it disrupts the flow of signals from the pons to the tongue and thereby affects your coordination.
そこで生き残った肉片も容赦なく舌は探り出し、奥歯へと送り返す。一個の肉片がクリーム状になるまで。
Okay, and what we see in this scene is that the food is now found in a cream state after having been chewed, and we call this a food bolus. And it's really important to chew your food to this consistency to assist with digestion, so that when the food reaches your stomach, it's ready for the stomach acids and enzymes to get to work on. And here's a really interesting question for you. How many times do you think you need to chew your food before you swallow it? For argument's sake, let's pick something like a piece of steak or a handful of nuts. Let me know down below how many times you think you should chew your food before swallowing it. You might be surprised with the answer.
さらにはこの舌ときたら、複雑な作業の合間に小骨までも近くし、唇へと引き渡すのだ。これらスリリングな作業を経ながらも、唇も舌も歯によって一切の傷を負うことはない。
So yes, the tongue is a very sensitive muscle. It has anywhere between 2,000 and 10,000 taste buds. And it's also a highly dexterous muscle that takes part in the formation of speech. For example, just as a test to show you how involved the tongue is, I want you to say out loud the vowels A, E, I, O, U, and feel the different shapes that your tongue makes in creating those different sounds. It's really amazing.
こんなところへ呼び出して穏やかではないな。トゥース、いくつだ？一般成人男子の 3.2 倍。これがその男の戦力だ。
Okay, so this is pretty interesting how the tooth is able to determine Iron Mike's fighting abilities just by looking at him. But is this possible? Well, yes, there's a long history of evidence that shows that animals are able to assess the fighting abilities of same species competitors using this very method. For example, red deer have roaring contests, and some different species of fish blow themselves up to appear larger and more threatening. And with humans, there's a long history of male physical aggression. Thus, it would greatly benefit men to be able to accurately assess when aggression is likely to result in either a beneficial or detrimental outcome. But what are the scientific physical cues that you can pick up on to assess someone's fighting ability? Well, there are multiple of them, but the most reliable cue to pick up on fighting ability is someone's upper body strength. Even after combat tools like clubs, spears and swords became common, you still needed upper body strength to wield them. So in layman terms, upper body strength is an honest sign of strength and can't be faked.
硬いものだね、人の顔というのは。
Okay, so he starts off here with a punch to his face, but he quickly realises that a slap might be better than a punch. And this is because a punch not only inflicts damage on your opponent, but also potentially damages your hand. But it also looks like the mouth are really dirty fighters. They're targeting all the weak points on Iron Mike's body. The back of the head, the back of the knees, and then straight for the nose. Oh, again, Iron Mike is taking quite a pummeling here, but the mouth are being really clever about this. What they're doing is they're utilising the momentum of him falling to help enhance the power of their strikes. And it's really due to the synchronicity of their fighting style, knowing where one another are and how they're going to strike, that allow them to take full advantage of this. Whereas in other gang fights, for example in Bruce Lee films, you've got a disorganised mob of people who don't really know how to utilise their numbers against Bruce Lee, and he ends up just kicking all their asses. And this is really clever by Iron Mike. The real danger when fighting a gang is that they can encircle you, which makes defending yourself very tricky. I seem to remember a tip from the Kenshin anime, which spoke about how to fight a gang of people. When faced against a gang, what you want to do is run away. It's likely that one of your opponents is faster than the other. You can therefore split up the gang, having several one-on-one fights whilst running away, rather than fighting the whole gang together. It certainly improves your odds. Gosh, their fighting style is pretty brutal here. Iron Mike has taken several liver shots, as well as several punches to the chin. I mean, this would be enough to take down any opponent, regardless of your experience. I think the only way to defend against this is taking a leaf out of Biscuit Oliver's book and wrapping yourself up in a ball.
いかに素早く動こうが、一つの動作でかわせるパンチはたった一つ。同時に3つのパンチを出せば2つは当たる。三流のパンチでもクリーンヒットすりゃ君でも倒れる。
Yep, that's true. It's difficult to defend against 3 consecutive punches, and really, regardless of how strong they are, they will do some damage. It kind of reminds me of an ancient Chinese torture method called Ling Chi, or otherwise known as death, by 1,000 cuts. Now, what this involves is inflicting 1,000 non-fatal cuts to the body as a form of torture. And here, Iron Mike's only been fighting for a few minutes, and it looks like he'd already want to throw in the towel.
こんな子供の手によって大の男を倒す技があるとするなら、まずは金敵、ついで目つきの2つが挙げられる。
This is a pretty useful scene. So yes, I guess these two moves are essentially vulnerable points on all fighters, except for Yojiro Hanma, possibly. Now, the eyes are vulnerable for obvious reasons because they're soft and exposed, but why is a kick to the testicles so effective? Well, it's all got to do with evolution. This part of the body has one of the highest density of sensory nerve fibers, the advantage of which is light touch can cause arousal, but on the flip side, intense pain can be felt if we're kicked in this region.
かかとである。体重30キロ余りの小学生が大の男を踏みつけ一発で悶絶させること、それはあまりに簡単だ。
Oh, so yeah, there's a reason why stomps are disallowed in all forms of martial arts, and that's because you can inflict so much damage with them. Don't underestimate the damage that this can inflict, as it is often how people get killed when they get mugged or get beaten up in a gang fight. One stomp delivered by one individual is unlikely to be fatal, but one stomp delivered by 4 or 5 individuals could definitely lead to brain damage, if not death.
仕上げだ。差し当たり拳を握る剣を切断しとこうか。押さえて。こうか。上等だ。
Gosh, this is really dirty. So to finish off Iron Mike, they're going to sever off the tendons in his forearm. Now, the way the anatomy is set up in the forearm is that on one side you have the flexor muscles, and what these do is they allow you to form a fist. On the other side, you have what are called the extensors, which allow you to extend out your fingers. So of course, if they sever the flexors, this is going to prevent Iron Mike from forming a fist, and unfortunately his boxing days might be behind him. But he might want to talk to Doppo Orochi, who has some experience with fighting without any hands. And if anyone's interested about Doppo Orochi's hand amputation and the surgery to reattach it, I made a video on this and I'll leave the link down below in the description. That's all for today, guys. In my upcoming videos I'll be covering One Piece, JoJo and Hunter x Hunter, as well as taking a look at a bit more of the Baki series, so look out for those videos. But in the meantime, why not let one of these two videos keep you entertained? Otherwise, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks.